This video features spoilers for some My Hero Academia manga content, so keep that in mind when you're watching this video. Hey guys, this is Pineapple, and in this video, we'll be talking about Eri and trying to solve a number of the mysteries surrounding her, while also explaining her quirk, her place in the story after this arc, and what I think she might be capable of. You can follow me on Twitter at VocalPineapple, and of course, you can like this video and subscribe for more My Hero Academia content. I cover other series too, so check those out if you're new here or if you're just looking for something else to watch. Who is Eri? Who are her parents? And how did she end up in Chisaki's custody? Let's discuss after that intro. Hit it! So Eri is of course the small girl that we meet at the very beginning of the season who finds herself in Overhaul's custody. We'll discuss her parents and how she became part of the Yakuza's family, but let's get right into it and start discussing her quirk. It activates for the first time when she's reaching for Mirio's cape as she's getting dragged away by Overhaul in the most recent episode of season 4 at the time of this video, which is 13, and instantly it ends Overhaul's fusion. So let's discuss what it actually did there and everything that we know about the quirk to begin discussing and theorizing what it might be capable of and how it might be used in the series moving forward. What do we know about her quirk, Rewind? Well, Eri's quirk is the same type of quirk as One for All and a few other quirks in the series. That's stockpile and store up power. She stores up a certain amount of energy over time, and that energy is stored in her horn, which grows according to the amount of energy stored. The energy in the horn sparks out as a wave of electricity that affects anything that it touches, but in the anime it's more of a sort of sparkly energy that comes off of her horn that affects those who are nearby. Now, like the name of her quirk suggests, with Rewind, Eri can rewind a person's body to a previous state. We see this specifically when her quirk activates for the first time, rewinding Overhaul's fused state into his normal state. She does it again when her quirk goes out of control, and Overhaul's final form gets rewinded away. As far as we're aware, the effect is constant like a water fountain. It's not like Eri can hit you with her quirk energy for half a second and then rewind your body to a specific point. If you're hit by Eri's energy, it rewinds you according to the strength that Eri is applying to the quirk, meaning that she can rewind things slowly or turn up the pressure to really alter something or someone. But the big issue is her inability to control the quirk. This is the most apparent when Deku initially transforms into his 100% form to stabilize Eri's quirk. Eri was rewinding Deku a certain amount, but to keep himself from getting rewinded out of existence, Deku powered up One for All the way to 100% and went all out, damaging his body just as fast as Eri was rewinding him. At the very end of the battle, however, which we'll see in episode 14, Eri loses even further control of her quirk and starts really rewinding Deku, even overpowering his 100% form. Eventually, Aizawa turns off both of their quirks, but by that point, all of Deku's injuries from his battle against Overhaul are healed. Some people even like to speculate that Eri might have healed Deku's arms completely, but he still has that huge scar that he had from when he fought against Muscular, so that isn't likely at all. So that's the well understood aspect of Eri's quirk. But there's some mystery still, and it doesn't take much thinking to find it. If Eri's quirk can rewind a person's physical state, then how does that quirk become part of a bullet that can erase someone's quirk? Do we know where exactly the quirk is in the human body? If Eri's quirk was working as we understood it in these bullets, then it would be something like Eri rewinding some part of the victim's body inside of them that's responsible for them having a quirk at all. Because again, we've established that Eri's quirk is first explained and shown as a quirk that can rewind physical matter. But like a few other quirks in My Hero Academia, it seems like Eri's quirk is far more literal and interesting than it seems. The way the quirk erasing bullets work isn't by targeting a body part or organ in the body that's responsible for quirks. I mean, in the world, they still don't know where quirks come from specifically, and there's no sort of science in the amateur world that we know of that suggests quirks come from an organ. So that means that the quirk erasing bullet used Eri's quirk to rewind the victim's quirk itself. This is our first hint that Eri's quirk can rewind more than just matter. No, it's actually much more ridiculous than that. Eri's quirk rewinds. That's the easiest way to understand it. It isn't just limited to rewinding a broken bone to before that bone was broken. It can rewind specific aspects about a person. Eri can rewind specifically your quirk to before it ever developed, practically rewinding your quirk to -1, meaning you have to live without a quirk forever as a normal person, just like everyone was before their quirks developed. Overhaul adds more fuel to the fire though, because Chisaki says that if Eri wanted to, she could probably turn a human into a monkey. Now, some people would argue that this is Chisaki joking for some reason. I've had that argument, or that he isn't being serious. Whenever I take this quote seriously, I see people say that I'm stretching it, but really, with the way that we know and understand Eri's quirk, it makes sense. We just established that Eri can rewind more than just physical matter. She can rewind specific things like your quirk. Well, what's to say that an adult Eri that has full control and mastery of her quirk couldn't target your DNA and the very fiber of your being, including everything that holds you together, and rewinds you to your evolutionary ancestor, which is much more ape-like the further you go back. Chisaki is the expert on Eri's quirk because he's the one that manipulated it and used it to create these quirk erasing bullets. He says that he pretty much took Eri's quirk to the final point that it's going to be, pretty much the mastered version of Eri's quirk. And I'm sure that his quirk that can break things apart and put them back together was the perfect quirk for working on this project. Could this statement really ring true to Chisaki's understanding of Eri's quirk and what it's capable of? It's very open-ended. Understanding how Eri's quirk works, what are some situations that Eri could find herself in or find her quirk useful in? Well, first off, if Eri somehow managed to get control of her quirk, she'd be able to theoretically rewind the Nomu and fix them, returning them to normal people. This would be especially useful to her caretaker, Aizawa, as this might be the only way to save his long-lost friend Shirakumo, who was turned into Shigaraki's caretaker, Kurogiri. Shirakumo and Aizawa were really protective of Sushi the cat in My Hero Academia Vigilantes, and Shirakumo was also really protective of Aizawa. All for when and Uchiko turned this protectiveness of Shirakumo's into Kurogiri's will to protect Shigaraki. Well, much in the same way, Aizawa protects and cares for Eri, who he even dresses in clothes covered in cats. So it's like Eri is another Sushi the cat to Aizawa. Aizawa, of course, is also protective of Shirakumo's body, even though it's stubbornly existing on as Kurogiri. At the end of the day, Kurogiri is just trying to do the same as Aizawa. And it'd be interesting if Eri saw that or discovered that somehow and contributed to saving Shirakumo by rewinding Kurogiri to before his programming from Uchiko was complete, or to a point where the heroes can loosen up the effect of the doctor's experimenting to completely get back Shirakumo's personality. I think it'd be a little cheap or strange for this to just happen all at once, but it would be a sweet gift from Eri to Aizawa, and it would make that panel of Eri's horn sparking up at the beginning of this arc of Present Mic and Aizawa fit perfectly into the flow of this arc, because that spread on the last page of chapter 246 has been seemingly showing us what we're going to be seeing throughout this arc. It started out with the origin trio, then it showed Fuyumi, which hinted towards the Todoroki family stuff, and after that there's panels of Kurogiri, Gran Torino, Aizawa, Present Mic, and Eri. Well, in one of the most recent chapters of the story, after Aizawa and Present Mic have had their breakthrough of Shirakumo and are now back at the UA dorms, it seems like the time for some sort of development is here. Eri's horn is starting to bother her, and it's starting to release small bits of energy. Interestingly enough, the horn is pretty much back to the size that it was during the Overhaul arc, with some people arguing that it might even be a little bigger. Well, Monoma tells us that Eri's quirk is a stockpiling quirk, and now we're seeing that after not using her quirk for long enough, since UA hasn't really found a solution or a safe way for her to begin testing it, she's now starting to face consequences thanks to that buildup of energy. The logical solution is to have Eri use her quirk often, in small bursts, to release this energy, but not in a way that can go wild or out of control. This would most likely be done under Aizawa's supervision so that he could turn her quirk off if it does go out of control. But having Eri use her quirk a small amount every day or maybe even once a week or once a month might complete two things. One, it helps teach her how to use her quirk, which is the goal for the teachers and staff at UA. And two, it keeps her energy from stockpiling to the point where it causes her pain. However, if Eri is used to rewind Kurogiri to Shirakumo, she could slowly use her quirk to rewind him in multiple sessions, and that would make it complete a third thing, which is 3, healing Aizawa's friend, thus helping the Hero Society get even more information on Uchiko, Shigaraki, and the League of Villains' plans up until at least the point that he was captured, which could be vital for the upcoming battle. This would also make it make even more sense for Aizawa to be there and monitor the situation, and it really ties everything together really well in a narrative way. Having all of these characters that are somewhat tied together, pretty much all in the same place, on the same plot thread. So that's how Eri awakens her quirk, everything we know about it, and what it's likely capable of. The quirk works like time moving through a person, not like the person moving through time, and that time can be used to reverse any aspect of the person, whether that's their body, their DNA, their quirk, or even potentially their memories. It's a truly terrifying and powerful quirk, and originally my big worry was that it could be a quirk that easily solves any number of problems in the series. While the quirk is absolutely bonkers on paper, the fact that Eri's quirk is a stockpiling one that runs out of energy and has to store it up over time lets us know that Eri doesn't exactly have a massive amount of times that she can use her quirk before her horn gets small and she's used up all of her energy. With that said, it's likely that Eri does have to use her quirk soon because the drawbacks of her not doing so could be pretty scary. We know that Eri was given up by her mom because she accidentally rewinded her father out of existence. But could that have been because Eri's quirk had been storing up until the point that once it was unleashed, she couldn't control its output until the energy was completely spent? This means that allowing Eri to store up energy up until a certain point might actually be dangerous, and it's just another good example of Horikoshi adding dangerous drawbacks and stakes to Eri's quirk. Now to lighten things up, while it is a potentially scary quirk, as Deku puts it, it's also a kind and gentle quirk. I think ultimately Eri's place will be to replace Recovery Girl and Yue as the new healer for the school moving forward. Once she has a firm understanding of how to use her quirk, I definitely see her being the one that rewinds and heals everyone's injuries after the end of the series and our characters are adults, because Yue is going to need someone to heal the students after Recovery Girl, and healing quirks are pretty rare and hard to come by. So what do you think about Eri awakening her quirk, and do you think her true awakening is still yet to come? Will she fully grasp what her quirk is capable of, and what's next for her in the story? Her quirk is a really good counter for Shigaraki's decay, because it's practically the only thing that can restore what Shigaraki has erased, but her quirk is also a wave, so it can cover a certain amount of space, just like Shigaraki's can now. Will we ever see Eri's quirk going toe-to-toe with Shigaraki's quirk to protect Deku or someone else? Who knows, but let's see what Horikoshi does. This is Pineapple. I hope you guys enjoyed the explanation and the discussion. I love you guys. Peace.